The stars twinkled in the view screen as Commander Elijah Winters stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His blue uniform was crisp, and his posture straight as a rod. He had been standing in the same spot for nearly 2 hours, watching as the massive ships of the Galactic Empire moved closer to Earth. "They're bigger than we thought," said Lieutenant Grace Kelly, her voice quiet with awe. She adjusted her glasses and continued to study the readings on her screen. "Size isn't everything, Lieutenant," Elijah said, but even he couldn't hide the slight tremor in his voice. The Empire ships were indeed massive. The smallest one was larger than the biggest human space station. The largest was almost the size of Earth's moon. The year was 2157. Humans had only figured out faster-than-light travel 70 years ago. They were babies in the cosmic neighborhood, and now the oldest and most powerful civilization in the known universe had come knocking at their door. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Geneva. Ambassador Morgan wants to speak with you," said Communications Officer Ben Harris. Elijah nodded and walked to his private office. The face of Ambassador Lisa Morgan appeared on his screen. She looked tired but determined. "Commander Winters, the Imperial delegation will arrive in Geneva tomorrow. I've been studying their cultural materials for months, but I'm still not sure what to expect," she said. "My sources say their technology is at least 1,000 years ahead of ours," Elijah replied. "Be careful, Lisa. We don't know what they really want." Lisa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's why I'm calling. Defense Fleet Intelligence suggests they've been scanning Earth extensively. They seem very interested in our resources. Not our culture or our knowledge?" "Apparently not. Just our minerals, water, and land." Elijah frowned. "That doesn't sound like the friendly cultural exchange they've been promising." "No, it doesn't," Lisa agreed. "I'll keep you updated after the meeting tomorrow." The screen went dark, and Elijah returned to the bridge with a heavy feeling in his stomach. The next day, the United Earth headquarters in Geneva was buzzing with activity. Security was tight as the Imperial delegation's ship descended from the sky. It was smaller than the ones in orbit, but still impressive, sleek and silver with blue lights pulsing along its hull. Lisa Morgan stood at the front of the greeting party, wearing her best diplomatic uniform. Next to her was United Earth President Gabrielle Woods, looking regal in her Navy suit. "Remember," President Woods whispered, "we are representing all of humanity today." The ship's door opened with a hiss, and out stepped the grand emissary of the Galactic Empire. Zarthul was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he surveyed the humans before him. "Welcome to Earth," Lisa said, performing the greeting gesture they had been taught, right hand over heart, then extended palm up. Zarthul mimicked the gesture before speaking. His voice was translated through a small device on his collar. "The Eternal Empire is pleased to finally make formal contact with your species. Your world has been of interest to us since your first radio signals reached our listening posts." The meeting moved inside to a large conference room with a round table. Zarthul and his 3 assistants sat on one side, while Lisa, President Woods, and the Earth delegation sat on the other. "The Empire extends its protection to all civilized worlds," Zarthul began. "We offer you the benefits of our 50,000 years of peace and prosperity." "We are grateful for your interest in Earth," Lisa replied carefully. "We look forward to learning about your culture and sharing ours." Zarthul's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Yes, culture. Important. But first we must discuss the terms of Earth's integration into the Empire." President Woods leaned forward. "Terms? We were under the impression this was to be a mutual exchange." "Of course," Zarthul said smoothly. "The Empire gives much. In return, we require only what is fair." He gestured, and one of his assistants placed a small device on the table. It projected a holographic document in both the Empire's language and English. Lisa began to read, and, with each line, her face grew darker. When she finished, she looked up at Zarthul in disbelief. "You want 30% of all Earth's resources, and 10,000 humans each year for cultural exchange?" "These are standard terms," Zarthul replied. "Quite generous, actually. Some worlds give 40%. "And this protected species status," President Woods said, her voice tight. It means humans would have no voting rights in your empire. Voting comes after a species proves itself worthy, Zarthul said, perhaps in a few hundred years. Lisa stood up suddenly. This isn't an exchange. This is colonization. Earth is not a resource to be harvested, and humans are not commodities to be traded. Zarthul blinked all four eyes at once. A sign of surprise, Lisa realized. He genuinely hadn't expected resistance. No species has ever refused integration, he said, his translator unable to hide the confusion in his tone. The benefits are clear: imperial medicine, technology, knowledge. At the cost of our freedom and dignity, Lisa replied. No thank you. President Woods also stood. Ambassador Morgan speaks for Earth. We appreciate your visit, but we are not interested in these terms. Earth is not for sale. The other members of Earth's delegation rose as well, standing in solidarity. Zarthul's skin color deepened to a dark navy, anger perhaps. This is unprecedented. The Empire does not negotiate these matters. These are the terms. They are fair and standard. Not to us, Lisa said firmly. If you wish to establish diplomatic relations with Earth as equals, we would be happy to continue this conversation. Otherwise, this meeting is over. Zarthul stood slowly, towering over the humans. You do not understand what you are rejecting. No world exists successfully outside the Empire. There are consequences for this level of disrespect. Is that a threat, Grand Emissary? President Woods asked quietly. Merely a statement of reality, Zarthul replied. I will report your response to the Imperial Council. They will be most interested to hear of this anomaly. As the Imperial delegation prepared to leave, Lisa approached Zarthul one last time. We want peace, she said, but not at the cost of becoming second-class beings in our own home. Zarthul looked down at her. For 50,000 years, the Empire has brought order to the galaxy. Species that resist this order do not fare well in the long term. Consider your position carefully, Ambassador Morgan. We will expect a more reasonable response within one standard week. After the Imperial ship departed, Commander Winters received an urgent call from Geneva. They want us to surrender our world, Lisa told him, her face grim on the screen. They've given us 1 week to reconsider. Elijah's jaw tightened. What's our response? In the background, he could see President Woods talking intensely with her advisors. Lisa glanced back at them, then turned to face Elijah again. We're going to need the defense fleet ready, she said. I don't think they're used to hearing the word no. Dr. Alan Reeves had not slept in 36 hours. His office at the Global Science Center was a mess of coffee cups and food wrappers. 3 computer screens glowed in front of him, each showing different parts of the data he had stolen from the Imperial ship's systems. During the diplomatic meeting in Geneva, Alan had used a tiny device of his own design. While everyone was focused on the tense conversation, the device had quietly copied parts of the Empire's database. It was risky, but they needed to know more about these visitors. Found anything useful? Asked his assistant Kate Miller, as she placed a fresh cup of coffee on his desk. Alan ran a hand through his messy brown hair. Too much. The Empire has a system for classifying newly discovered worlds. He pointed to one of the screens. Look at this. They put worlds into categories: resource worlds, buffer worlds, strategic worlds, and partner worlds. Kate leaned in. And Earth is a resource world. Alan's voice was bitter. They never intended to treat us as equals. They've already made plans for mining operations across the planet. Kate's face paled. Does the president know? I sent everything to her office an hour ago. Alan took a long drink of coffee. There's more. They've been watching us for centuries, waiting for the right time to approach us. The right time being when? When we're advanced enough to be useful workers, but not advanced enough to be a real threat. Alan pulled up another file. And there are records of other species who refused to join the Empire. None of the stories have happy endings. On the other side of the world, Navy Captain Diana Cruz stood on the bridge of the EDF Horizon, Earth's most advanced spaceship. It was tiny compared to the Imperial vessels, but it was fast and stealthy. "Status report," Diana said, her dark eyes fixed on the main screen showing Earth and the Imperial ships in orbit. "We're detecting unusual energy patterns from the third Imperial vessel," replied Officer Joe Martinez. "They appear to be scanning something." "What are they scanning? Us?" "No, Captain." Joe's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "They're scanning everything. Cities, oceans, mountain ranges. They're making a detailed map of Earth's resources." Diana's mouth set in a hard line. "And our military bases too, I bet." She turned to her communications officer. "Get me a secure line to Defense Command. They need to know about this." While Diana reported her findings, Intelligence Officer Frank Davidson was making a disturbing discovery of his own. He sat in a small windowless room deep beneath New York City, surrounded by data screens. "It doesn't make sense," he muttered to himself as he reviewed security footage from major cities around the world. He was looking for any signs of Imperial presence on Earth before the official first contact. What he found shocked him. Over the past 5 years, there had been at least 30 individuals who appeared human, but didn't quite act human. They held positions in global corporations, government offices, and research facilities. Frank picked up his secure phone. "Sir, I think the Empire has had spies on Earth for years. They look human, but their behavior patterns are off, and they've all taken positions that would be useful during a takeover." In Geneva, an emergency meeting of the United Earth Council was underway. President Wood sat at the head of the table, with representatives from all major regions of Earth around her. "The situation is more serious than we first thought," she said. "Dr. Reeves has confirmed that the Empire sees us only as a resource to exploit. Captain Cruz reports they are making detailed scans of our planet, and now Officer Davidson believes they may have agents already embedded in our society." Lisa Morgan, who sat beside the president, looked grim. "They gave us 1 week to reconsider their offer. It's been 3 days. Science Director Peter Wright cleared his throat. "There's something else." He tapped on his tablet, and a hologram appeared above the table showing small objects in orbit around Earth. "Our satellites detected these devices being deployed by the Imperial ships yesterday. We didn't know what they were at first, but we've analyzed their emissions." Peter paused. "They're atmospheric composition modifiers." "In simple terms?" President Woods asked. "They're beginning to change our air, slightly. It would take years to have a major effect, but the direction is clear. They're adjusting Earth to be more comfortable for their species." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "They're not waiting for our answer," Lisa finally said. "They're already beginning the process of taking our world." President Wood stood up. "Then we need to give them our answer now. I want a unanimous decision from this council. Will Earth submit to the Empire, or will we stand our ground?" The vote was quick and decisive. Not a single representative voted to submit. "Very well," President Wood said. "Ambassador Morgan, please, inform the Empire of our decision. And may God help us all." The next day, Lisa stood in the same conference room where she had first met Zarthul. This time, the Grand Emissary appeared only as a hologram, his blue skin glowing slightly. "The Empire is disappointed by Earth's continued resistance," Zarthul said before Lisa could even speak. "We had hoped your leaders would see reason." "We have seen reason," Lisa replied firmly. "We've also seen your atmospheric modifiers in our orbit and detected your extensive scans of our resources. You never intended an equal relationship." Zarthul's upper eyes narrowed. "Equality is a concept for equals, Ambassador. The Empire has existed for 50,000 years. Your civilization has barely begun. We offer guidance and protection." "We refuse your offer," Lisa said, "and we insist that you remove the devices from our orbit immediately. You are making a grave mistake. The Empire's patience is not unlimited." "Neither is ours," Lisa said. "Earth belongs to humanity. Your Empire is not welcome here." Zarthul's hologram flickered slightly. I will convey your response to the Imperial Council. Prepare yourselves for the consequences of your choice. After the hologram disappeared, Lisa's shoulders sagged with the weight of what had just happened. Her aide, Ryan Nelson, approached her. Did we just declare war on the most powerful civilization in the galaxy? He asked quietly. Lisa looked up at him. I think we just declared our independence. She straightened her jacket. Get me a secure line to Commander Winters and General Martinez. If the Empire wants Earth, they're going to have to fight for it. As she walked out of the conference room, Lisa could see the largest Imperial ship through the window. It had moved closer to Earth, its massive shadow now visible even in daylight. The message was clear. The Empire was done talking. Earth had made its choice. Now it needed to prepare for what would come next. General Olivia Martinez stood in front of a wall-sized map of Earth. Red dots marked military bases, blue dots showed defensive positions, and yellow dots indicated civilian shelters. There were not enough dots of any color. If they decide to attack in force, we won't last a week, she said to the room full of military leaders. Her gray uniform was perfectly pressed, but dark circles under her eyes revealed she hadn't slept much. Then we make it too painful for them to stay, said Admiral John Reyes. We can't match their technology, but we can make Earth a very uncomfortable place for them. Olivia nodded. Operation Porcupine. Like the small animal with the sharp quills, not the strongest creature, but no one wants to grab it. She turned to the officers. I want every ship we have ready to fly, every weapon ready to fire, every soldier ready to fight. The Empire needs to know that taking Earth will cost them. While the military prepared, tech entrepreneur Sam Phillips was meeting with President Woods in a secret underground facility. Sam was young for such an important meeting, only 35, but his company had been working with alien technology for years. Is it ready? President Woods asked, looking at the large round device in the center of the room. Sam adjusted his glasses. Not really, we've only tested it on a small scale. He walked around the device, checking connections. The shield was supposed to take another year of development. We don't have a year. We might not have a week. The president touched the smooth metal surface of the device. Will it work? Maybe. Sam looked up at her. We reverse-engineered it from technology the Centaurians shared with us 15 years ago. It should create an energy field around the planet that can deflect energy weapons and make it harder for ships to enter our atmosphere. For how long? Sam hesitated. A few hours at most. The power requirements are massive. The president nodded. A few hours might be enough to surprise them. Get it ready. In another part of the world, Ambassador Lisa Morgan was in a video conference with representatives from 12 non-Empire worlds. Some looked almost human, while others were very different. One was a floating cloud of gas, another looked like a giant insect. Earth stands firm in its refusal to join the Empire, Lisa said. But we know we can't stand alone. We're reaching out to all independent worlds and those who chafe under Imperial rule. The Empire has existed for 50,000 years, said a reptilian being named Cress. Many have challenged them. None have succeeded. None had allies, Lisa replied. Together we might achieve what none of us can do alone. The Arcturian Alliance has long maintained independence through careful diplomacy, said another representative, a tall, thin being with silver skin. But we have never directly opposed the Empire. Times change, Lisa said. If Earth falls, how long before the Empire decides your independence is also inconvenient? The representatives murmured among themselves. Finally, the Arcturian spoke again. We will provide technical assistance and intelligence, not military aid, yet. But it's more than we have ever offered before. Lisa smiled. It's a start. On the bridge of the EDF Horizon, Captain Diana Cruz received an urgent message from Earth Defense Command. The Empire has issued an ultimatum, she told her crew. We have 7 days to surrender, or they will take corrective action for humanity's own good. Officer Joe Martinez snorted. Sounds like something a bully would say. Diana nodded. That's exactly what they are. The biggest bully in the galaxy. But even bullies can be surprised. She pointed to a blinking light on her screen. The Arcturians have shared the location of an Imperial communications relay near Saturn. We're going to take a closer look. As the horizon changed course, President Woods was preparing to address the people of Earth. Camera crews set up in the Oval Office as she reviewed her speech one last time. "Are you sure about this, Madam President?" asked her Chief of Staff, Ryan Nelson. "Once you make this statement, there's no going back." "The Empire has already decided our fate," she replied. "All we're doing is deciding how we meet it, on our knees or on our feet." The red light on the camera turned on, and billions of people around the world watched as their president looked directly at them. "People of Earth," she began, her voice steady. "Today I speak to you about a threat unlike any we have faced before. The Galactic Empire, a civilization thousands of years older than our own, has demanded that we surrender our planet, our resources, and our freedom to them." She paused, letting her words sink in. "They believe that their age and power give them the right to take what is ours. They believe that we will bow to their demands out of fear." She shook her head. "They are wrong." President Wood stood up from her desk. "Earth belongs to humanity. It is our home, our birthright, and our future. We will not surrender it to anyone, no matter how powerful they may be." Her voice grew stronger. "To the Empire I say this. You are not welcome here. Any act of aggression against Earth will be met with the full force of human resistance, and we will never surrender our home." As she finished her speech, the largest Imperial ship moved from its position near the moon. It fired a beam of bright energy that struck an unoccupied research station on the lunar surface. The station exploded in a flash of light visible from Earth. It was a demonstration, a show of power meant to frighten humanity into submission. Instead, something unexpected happened. All across Earth, people gathered in streets and squares. They looked up at the sky where the Imperial ships could be seen as bright stars, and they raised their voices together. In Rio de Janeiro, 3 million people gathered on the beach chanting, "Earth for Humans." In Beijing, crowds filled Tiananmen Square holding signs in dozens of languages all saying the same thing: "You are not welcome here." From New York to New Delhi, from Cairo to Canberra, humanity united in defiance. In his secret facility, Sam Phillips watched the news reports with his team. "They're trying to scare us," he said. "Let's show them it won't work." He turned to his chief engineer. "Is the shield ready?" "As ready as it's going to be." Sam took a deep breath and pressed the activation button. The massive device hummed to life, power flowing through its circuits. High above Earth, a shimmer appeared in the atmosphere, barely visible at first, then strengthening into a translucent blue glow that surrounded the planet. On the Imperial Command Ship Grand Emissary Zarthul received an urgent report. "The humans have activated some kind of planetary shield," his officer said. "Our scans cannot penetrate it." Zarthul's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of surprise. "Impossible. Their technology is not advanced enough." "Nevertheless, the shield is there." Zarthul stared at the view screen showing the now shimmering Earth. "It seems these humans are full of surprises." Imperial Commander Vexnar stood on the bridge of his warship, the Eternal Glory. His scaled skin was dark blue with anger as he watched the energy blast from his ship bounce off Earth's shield. "Fire again," he ordered. "Full power this time." The ship hummed as it gathered energy. The beam that shot out was twice as bright as before. It hit the blue shield around Earth and spread across it like ripples in a pond. But it did not break through. "Impossible," Vexnar hissed. He turned to his science officer. "How can they have shield technology this advanced?" "Unknown, Commander, but our sensors detect unusual energy patterns. The shield appears unstable." Vexnar's mouth formed what might have been a smile on a human face. "Keep firing, their shield cannot last forever." On Earth, Sam Phillips watched nervously as warning lights flashed on his control panel. "Power levels dropping," he said to President Woods, who stood beside him. "The shield is holding, but not for much longer." How much time do we have? She asked. Sam checked the readings. Maybe 30 minutes. Less if they keep hitting us with heavy weapons. The president nodded. That's all the time we need. She turned to her aide. Tell Captain Cruz to launch now. High above Earth, hidden in the shadow of the moon, the EDF Horizon powered up its engines. Captain Diana Cruz sat in the command chair, her face set with determination. All systems ready? Captain, reported Officer Joe Martinez. Begin Operation Shadow, Diana ordered. Take us out quiet as a whisper. The Horizon moved silently into space, its new stealth technology, a gift from the Arcturians, hiding it from Imperial sensors. Its target was not the Imperial warships attacking Earth, but a small communications relay near Saturn that Dr. Alan Reeves had identified as crucial to the Empire's network. The Empire's ships use a quantum frequency for their communications, Alan had explained during the mission briefing. If we can disrupt it, they won't be able to coordinate their attack. Now, as the Horizon approached the relay, Diana felt the weight of Earth's future on her shoulders. Prepare the quantum disruptors, she said. We'll only get one shot at this. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Alan Reeves made another important discovery. He burst into the emergency meeting of the United Earth Council, out of breath from running. The Empire's main ships are vulnerable, he said, placing his tablet on the table. Their engines use a rare element called xanthium. It's extremely stable, except when exposed to a specific frequency of sound waves. General Olivia Martinez leaned forward. Are you saying we can disable their ships with sound? Not all of them, and not permanently, Alan said. But it could buy us time. The problem is we need to broadcast the frequency from orbit, inside their defensive perimeter. I have ships ready to launch, Olivia said, but they'd be destroyed before they got close enough. Lisa Morgan, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What if we don't need to get close? What if they come to us? Everyone turned to look at her. The Empire believes we're primitives who got lucky with our shield, Lisa said. Let's use that. Let's invite Zarthul to a meeting to discuss surrender terms. You want to surrender? General Martinez asked in disbelief. No, Lisa smiled. I want them to think we're ready to surrender. When their ship enters our atmosphere for the meeting, we strike. The plan was risky, but they had few options. Lisa sent a message to the Imperial fleet, requesting a meeting with Grand Emissary Zarthul to discuss the terms of Earth's integration into the Empire. The response came quickly. Zarthul would arrive in 6 hours. The attack on the shield stopped immediately. They bought it, Lisa said. Now we need to prepare. While Earth prepared its trap, the EDF Horizon reached the Imperial communications relay near Saturn. It was a small station with minimal defenses, designed to be hidden rather than protected. No signs they've detected us, Joe reported. We're in position to deploy the disruptors. Diana gave the order. Launch now. 3 small devices shot out from the horizon, flying toward the relay station. They attached to its outer hull and began to pulse with blue light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the relay's lights flickered and went out. Direct hit, Joe said with a grin. The quantum frequency is disrupted. Their communications will be scrambled across the entire system. Diana allowed herself a small smile. Set course for home. Maximum speed. She knew the Empire would detect them, now that the disruptors were active, and they needed to be back at Earth before the Imperial ships realized what had happened. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Emissary Zarthul was preparing to leave for his meeting with the humans when the communication system suddenly filled with static. What is happening? He demanded. Unknown emissary, his officer replied. We've lost contact with all ships in the system. Fix it, Zarthul snapped. I want communications restored before I return from the surface. Should we delay your meeting with the humans? Zarthul considered this, his 4 eyes blinking thoughtfully. No. Their shield is failing. They know surrender is their only option. I will hear their terms and explain why they are insufficient. He paused. Have Commander Vexinar position his ships to resume the attack if needed. Commander Vexinar tried to acknowledge the order, but his communications were also affected. He could see the other Imperial ships but couldn't coordinate with them. It was annoying but not critical. The humans were surrendering anyway. On Earth, final preparations were underway. In a large room in the United Earth headquarters, a special sound system had been installed, hidden in the walls and ceiling. Dr. Alan Reeves tested it one last time. "Ready," he told President Woods. "When I give the signal, it will broadcast the frequency that should disrupt their engines." "Should?" the president asked. Alan shrugged. "It's alien technology. We've never tested this directly." "Today is full of firsts," she said. "Let's hope it works." Outside, a small Imperial shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. The shield had been lowered just enough to allow it through. Another sign, Zarthul thought, of human submission. The shuttle landed smoothly on the pad outside the headquarters. Grand Emissary Zarthul stepped out, flanked by 4 guards. He looked around with all 4 eyes, taking in the human security forces and the city beyond. "Primitive," he muttered to himself. "But the planet has potential." Ambassador Lisa Morgan met him at the entrance. "Welcome back to Earth, Grand Emissary," she said with a perfect diplomatic smile. "We're ready to discuss Earth's future." Zarthul followed her inside, completely unaware of the trap that was about to be sprung. Grand Emissary Zarthul sat at the large round table in the United Earth headquarters. His blue skin seemed to shimmer under the room's lights. Across from him sat President Woods, Ambassador Lisa Morgan, and several Earth officials. "We are pleased that you have reconsidered your position," Zarthul said. "The Empire's embrace is still open to Earth." President Woods smiled politely. "We understand now that resistance is impractical, but we hope to negotiate terms that will be more comfortable for our people." Zarthul's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "The terms are standard. They are not negotiable." "Surely some small adjustments could be made," Lisa suggested. "For instance, the number of humans required for annual cultural exchange programs. 10,000 is already a minimal number considering your population," Zarthul said dismissively. "Many worlds provide far more." As they spoke, Dr. Alan Reeves watched from a small room next door. On his screen, he could see that the EDF Horizon had returned from its mission and was now in Earth orbit. Captain Diana Cruz sent a simple message. "Communications disrupted. Standing by." Alan looked at his watch. It was time. He pressed a button on his tablet. Throughout the room where Zarthul sat, hidden speakers activated. No human could hear the sound they produced. It was beyond the range of human hearing, but Zarthul immediately stiffened in his chair. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice suddenly sharp. President Woods looked confused. "I'm not sure what you mean, emissary." Zarthul stood up abruptly. "You are broadcasting a signal. Stop it immediately." In space, something was happening to the Imperial ships. As the sound frequency reached them through Zarthul's own communications device, their massive engines began to falter. The xanthium cores vibrated at the wrong frequency, disrupting the power flow. Commander Vexnar watched in horror as warning lights flashed across his control panels. "What is happening?" he shouted. "Engine stability at 30% and falling," his officer reported. "The same is happening to all ships, and we still cannot communicate with each other to coordinate repairs." On Earth, Zarthul reached for his weapon, but found himself surrounded by Earth security forces, their guns pointed at him. "Your ships are currently experiencing some technical difficulties," President Wood said, her polite smile gone. "And your guards have been detained." Zarthul's skin darkened with anger. "This is treachery. The Empire will reduce your world to ashes for this insult." "No, emissary, it won't," Lisa said firmly. "Because right now, you're our guest. Or, to put it more accurately, our prisoner." While Zarthul was being secured, something unexpected was happening in space. The disruption of the Imperial fleet had not gone unnoticed. From the dark side of Mars, 5 ships appeared, ships that were not from Earth. Captain Diana Cruz received a transmission on the horizon. "Earth vessel, this is Captain Zier of the Arcturian Defense Force. We noticed the Empire is having some trouble. Perhaps you could use some assistance? Diana couldn't help but smile. Captain Zir, your timing is perfect. We would welcome your help. More ships appeared, some from the Proxima system, others from the Rigelian Commonwealth. All were civilizations that had existed under the Empire's shadow, never quite conquered but never truly free. Looks like we're not alone anymore, Joe Martinez said, staring at his screen in wonder. The Empire made many enemies over 50,000 years, Diana replied. They just needed someone to take the first stand. In the United Earth headquarters, now serving as an improvised prison for Zarthul, President Woods received the news of the arriving ships with relief. It seems our message has resonated beyond our solar system, she told her advisors. The Arcturians have brought friends. Lisa, Morgan nodded. The Empire's control was already fragile in many regions. Our defiance has shown others that resistance is possible. President Woods turned to General Martinez. What's the status of the Imperial fleet? Their engines are crippled, Olivia reported. They can maintain basic life support and some maneuvering, but they can't enter hyperspace or fire their main weapons. And with their communications disrupted, they can't coordinate. Perfect, the president said. Now, let's talk to our guest. Zarthul sat alone in a comfortable but secure room when President Woods and Ambassador Morgan entered. His four eyes focused on them with cold fury. You have made a terrible mistake, he said. When the Empire learns of this, they will send 100 ships to replace the ones you have disabled. Perhaps, President Woods said, taking a seat across from him. But that would take time. And in that time, more worlds might join our alliance. Alliance? Zarthul scoffed. A few minor powers cannot stand against the Empire. Lisa slid a tablet across the table to him. See for yourself. The screen showed the Imperial fleet, now surrounded by ships from a dozen different worlds. More were arriving every hour. Impossible, Zarthul whispered. You ruled through fear, Lisa said. But fear only works when people believe they have no choice. We've shown them another way. Zarthul was silent for a long moment. Then he looked up, his expression unreadable. What do you want? A new relationship, President Woods said. Not just for Earth, but for all worlds. No more resource planets or forced labor disguised as cultural exchange. Real cooperation between equals. The Imperial Council will never agree to this. They might, Lisa suggested, if their Grand Emissary recommends it. Especially when the alternative is losing their fleet and possibly sparking a galactic rebellion. Zarthul's eyes blinked in sequence as he considered his options. I will need to speak with the Council directly. Of course, President Woods agreed. Once our technicians restore your communications. 3 days later, a new meeting took place. This time it was aboard the EDF Unity, Earth's newest ship and now the center of diplomatic activity for the newly formed Free Worlds Coalition. Representatives from 27 worlds gathered around a large table. Some looked almost human. Others were wildly different. Crystalline beings, gaseous entities, and even a species that existed primarily as patterns of light. Captain Diana Cruz stood at the back of the room, watching with pride. Her mission to the communications relay had been the turning point, but it was the unity of so many different species that had truly changed the balance of power. Zarthul entered the room, now without guards but with a different manner about him. His posture was less imperial, more cautious. The Imperial Council has considered your proposal, he announced. After much discussion, they have agreed to recognize the Free Worlds Coalition as a sovereign entity, separate from the Empire. A murmur of surprise and joy ran through the assembled representatives. Earth and all coalition worlds will be designated as a restricted zone, Zarthul continued. No Imperial ships will enter this space without explicit permission. Ambassador Lisa Morgan stepped forward. And the other terms? The end of resource exploitation and forced labor? The Empire will adjust its policies, Zarthul said carefully. A new era of relations will begin. As the meeting concluded, Lisa and Diana stood together at a viewport, looking out at the stars. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Diana asked. Lisa smiled. "They'll have to. The age of the Empire ruling through fear is over." She pointed to the ships of the Coalition, now forming a protective ring around Earth. "We're not alone anymore. And we've shown everyone in the galaxy that even the most powerful empire can be challenged when its actions are unjust." Diana nodded. "All because we said a simple truth. You are not welcome here." Far out in space, at the edge of Earth's solar system, a new beacon began broadcasting a message to any approaching Imperial ships. Its meaning was clear in any language. Earth was now part of the Free World's coalition, respected, independent, and forever off limits to the Galactic Empire.